Hey guys, going live here. My cat's probably going to freak out while I'm doing this, but it's all good. It is Sunday today if you're watching the replay. So I guess I'll start you off with what I've been up to last few days. I got very curious and decided to try what they call a dry fast. So I did a 48-hour dry fast over the last couple days, and that's where you literally don't eat anything and you don't drink any water. You don't even shower because you're not really supposed to be that exposed to water, but I did brush my teeth and wash my hands, and all that stuff. But so I don't know if it's a 100%, but it's pretty damn close to a full dry fast. And surprisingly, I didn't really feel any desire to eat or anything until about the 40th hour, something like that. So so I came off that last night, and it was a little trickier too because the first 24 hours I went to the regular club that I resident at to support the other artists and stuff like that. And then last night I had a show, and I had just come off the dry fast, just drinking water, coconut water, and having a little bit of watermelon. That's pretty much all I had today. Is just watermelon, coconut water, regular water, different stuff like that. So I'm trying to come back a little bit slowly to regular foods, but I think I'm going to get a regular meal tonight. So should be good. But anyway, if you haven't heard about dry fasting, it's really super powerful. And I know this has nothing to do with music, but hey, it's my channel. I get to talk about what I want. And maybe I might just be able to help you guys or give you guys some ideas outside of music that might help with your music or whatever. I was curious, like how it would affect my creativity over time, how it would affect my overall feeling of health and energy. So that all relates to what I can put into my music, what I can put in my art. So, so that is what I've been up to. I'm wanting to do some live trainings throughout this month. So keep an eye on this page. This is a Facebook page. You might be seeing it on YouTube because I'll repost stuff on YouTube after I do this live. So if you're on YouTube, you're watching obviously the replay, and hello, hope you're having a good one. Today's training, not really training, today's lesson, if you will, or tip is for our Ableton users. Get the hell off of the session window as soon as freaking possible. I like to call it what's going on there? I like to call it the procrastination window because that's what it seems to be. And I recorded an example of why I think that using the session window really slows you down big time. At least for me and most of the students that I've had over the years, they've all benefited from changing their habit of working in the session window. So with that said, I'm just going to drag in this video that I recorded earlier, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. All right, so here we are in one of my tracks that I made a couple years ago, and this is previous to actually finishing the track. So I had this session window thing going on for over a year, and I couldn't really structure the song. So what you're going to hear here is my argument against using the session window. The way I look at it is that since everything ends up needing to be in the arrangement window over here anyway, everything you do over here is almost like a procrastination of getting the song done. And you have so many options over here that you feel like you're making a lot of progress. But what ends up happening is instead of having one 8-bar loop that you don't know what to do with, now you got 10 or 15 because you are trying to create the song before you create the song. Like you're trying to predict where the song's supposed to go. And you don't really know that. So it can make your song sound really blocky and make jumps from one section to another sound kind of weird. So I'll show you kind of what this song's about. This song I sampled from a movie. So every sound in this is pretty much from a movie. And I made different drum rack for the samples. So I started off with, 127 different samples, and then I started dividing them up to different sections so that I have sections that have something that's more voice-like, something more strings-like, singing cuts, voice 2, whistle 2, and so forth. I sampled something to make like a hi-hat sort of sample. And I could get into how I cut up samples and stuff later, but this lesson is really about trying to get you to stop procrastinating in this window. But anyway, let's listen to some of the scenes that I've created. And a scene is just a collection of clips over here. All right. And so all kinds of different variations here. And so forth. So I thought that I was just making a bunch of parts that, eventually would turn into a track, so everything interesting I just made into a new scene. And all it really did was just confuse me more because now I just had too many ideas that are all in this window that shows no sense of commitment to any one idea. So this song just sat for, over a year, just like this, where I'd put all this work into all these ideas, but I didn't know how to really arrange it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you what I did a year later when I came back to this song to finish it for my album. I decided that I was going to have to pick one loop and go with it and then make edits from there. And it ended up being much more productive. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Yeah, as you can see, this was started in 2010. So I didn't really pick it back up until 2015. So yeah, it didn't just sit for a year. It sat for 5 years doing nothing. So I'll go ahead and open this up. All right, so here we are in the updated song. Let me see if I jump over to the session window. I can't really tell you which one of these we started with, but I can probably just loop this. Well, if I loop like one of these areas here, like probably something like this will give you an idea of probably what we started with. So by committing to one loop and then changing as I went, everything felt much more fluid and it worked much quicker because I wasn't distracted by having to try to fit in all these 15 or 20 separate ideas into one song. I was basically just choosing one, and then I could go and edit those. And as you can see, these different colors here are different edits. So there's something different going on. But they could be minor, they could be major changes. But it all flowed well because I was looking at this in the format of it being a song as opposed to in the format of just being a jam session over here. And when I committed to one main idea, the song came together really quickly. So I'll go ahead and play this for you, just to kind of give you an idea of where I took the song. Oh, also, as you'll see, I added some kicks, hi-hat, and claps, and sub, and everything else down here is all samples from the movie. I kind of wanted to limit myself and only use sounds from a movie and then some basic drum sounds. So that's what I did. So as you can hear, I'm building on one idea and just kind of keeping that interesting for a longer period of time. I couldn't have predicted how long I was going to keep one idea going or if this main theme was going to last throughout the song. So that's really an important lesson that I learned by committing to one idea and then expanding as you go, but keeping that one idea interesting for a longer period of time. The song is more cohesive overall. And also, not only is it less confusing for the listener with you jumping all over through different ideas, but it makes your songwriting much more it gives your songwriting much more flow. So that's what makes this process go much faster. Start from here. So I don't need to go through the song to really get the point across, but this song was created using less ideas instead of more, and then just subtly changing some of the ideas and some of the samples that are used. If I come in here, like these strings pretty much are the same throughout the song. With a couple short breaks in throughout the track. This is where some of the changes happen. So we've got this part here. And then it progresses to. All right, and then so just kind of one note at a time. So probably what I did and what I would recommend you do is kind of grab the part that has the most stuff going on, and then you could strip it down, and that way you know that it's building up to something. You don't have to worry about what you're going to add necessarily. You worry more about what you're going to subtract that builds up to this main part. And then all of this is the same as over here. So not a whole lot of changes happen here. Some little singing bits. So you got that, and then this is just a slight variation. So this is just more removal of notes. And then it goes back to the original part, and then this part is a little different. But once again, it's removal of notes. And then this is another variation that seems to have more stuff going on. All right. And then some other voice stuff. So I think that's like a 8-bar loop or something like that. It's a yeah, looks like an 8-bar loop. One variation in here. So not too crazy. This has just 2 variations. This is the same throughout. Looks like this is the same throughout. This is the same throughout. And this has 1 variation. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of changes going on in comparison to that original session view version of the song. So I believe that, well, I can tell you from personal experience that, by switching to the arrange window, I almost 5 to 10x'd my musical output. So, I mean, that was a huge revelation for me. Once again, everything needs to end up in this window or it never becomes a song. So the longer that you stay in the session window, the longer that you're just kind of meandering and giving into more and more and more options. And that can be a rabbit hole that will keep you from finishing your songs. So my recommendation is start with one idea, and instead of like building, now you could build like, a scene or something to get yourself started in the session window. But my recommendation is once you get one good idea happening, one 8-bar idea, transfer it over to the arrangement window ASAP. And if it's just eight bars, then highlight, 8 bars and work with that until you're feeling happy with it. Then take that one loop, and instead of trying to figure out what you're going to do next right away, just stretch that loop out for 5 to 7 minutes so that it looks more like the form of a song. Then you start figuring out where you want to put breaks and different things like that. And a break is a good marker to say, well, something might need to change from, let's say, this section. There's a little break in between, and then this section. So as you can see, there's a little change here that happens. So it just helps guide you. So you start with kind of one long loop for 5 to 7 minutes or whatever, and then you put some breaks in there. And if you don't know where to put your breaks, then maybe borrow some arrangement ideas from another track. Bring it up here as a reference track of some sort, and just kind of mimic that, because you can always go back and extend your breaks or lessen your breaks or change the arrangement just by highlighting a section. And you can do like Command Shift, cut, copy, paste, whatever, and it will cut, copy, and paste the whole section of the song instead of just like one file or something like that, just one clip. So you can literally just cut, copy, and paste your way into a full arrangement, or you can edit what you've already done. So nothing's permanent, but by just giving yourself a starting point of placing some breaks here and there, maybe mimicking the arrangement of another song, it can make this whole process so much faster for you. So that is my recommendation, is to get off of the session window and get into the arrangement window as soon as possible. If not, just start here in the arrangement window and you're already, one step ahead, because once again, your song cannot be completed until it's in this window anyway. So that's my advice for you. I hope that you at least give this a try. You may be skeptical, and I totally get that. I stayed in the session window for a long time because honestly, the session window is the thing that was different about this DAW that originally, sparked my interest. So switching back to an arrangement window that all the other DAWs have, I really kind of fought that for a long time, because I just felt, well, if I'm using the arrangement window, then I'm not really using the thing that makes Ableton unique. But that ended up not really being the case at all in my experience. So hopefully you give it a try and you report back and let me know how your experience is. All right, guys. So I hope you got something out of that. I hope you guys stop using, or at least you minimize your use of the session window, and get yourself right into the arrange window and really just start working your ideas into a full song, cutting in some breaks, and then you can just edit those different sections of the song subtractively most of the time, but sometimes you're going to add some layers and all that sort of stuff as well. But I think it'll make your music making go much more efficiently, and I think you'll find yourself to be much more productive. So with that, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I should be jumping back on for another live training hopefully tomorrow. All right, guys, talk soon.